Hello and welcome to this channel. My name is Asal Shokati, Ayurvedic practitioner in Houston, Texas, and founder of Asal Shokati Healing Arts for Healing Hearts. As part of expanding this beautiful network of holistic professionals and healing work, healing artists, I'm putting together a series of videos, chats with practitioners. And I have the honor of having Aparna with us today. And this video is being recorded for the month of November. So if we make references to the season of fall, you know what we're talking about. But the wisdom that will be shared is for pretty much all year round and hopefully for a lifetime. Without further ado, I would like to bring Aparna to the screen and let her introduce herself to you.
Thank you, Asal. It's great to be here. My name is Aparna Khanolkar, and I am in Michigan, the beautiful state of Michigan. And I work as a spiritual mentor, and I'm also a maker of beautiful Ayurvedic products. I was born and raised in India, and what's so beautiful about being born and raised in India is whether you know Ayurveda or not, it's just part of your life. As a baby, it doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. You're massaged soon after, a few days after your birth with warm oils. When you eat your first solid food, there is a bit of turmeric and ghee in it. And there are so many beautiful inbuilt rituals and ways of being that we call Ayurveda today. But in India, it's just a way of life. And I was very fortunate, like all other Indians, to grow up like that. And I've lived here now for, I think, 31 years, maybe 32. And I feel very privileged to live here while sharing this ancient wisdom. And it's definitely a very interesting experience because it's not very familiar to Westerners. So you're part of this new way of being and living. It's a possibility universally because Ayurveda is so universal.
Absolutely.
So
It is the closest to nature. Thank you for this beautiful introduction. I'm very glad you brought up a tiny bit of your upbringing. And I hope that, as you said, one day more and more of us human beings, because we're all the same, would be re-familiarized with this ancient wisdom that the Indian culture did a marvelous job of holding it for all of us. Sometimes
yeah,
you see references in other cultures, but it's just a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's not embedded in the society. And in India,
yeah,
it is.
and Ayurveda is growing in India definitely. Yeah, there's such a beautiful resurgence. Every time I visit, you see more and more Ayurvedic centers and clinics just all over the place, and you can just feel that it's coming back, and it rightfully should come back. And the beauty of Ayurveda is that we all need connection, and we all need to know our origin beyond body,
Mhm.
beyond mind, beyond food and culture. And that's why Ayurveda has lasted for so long, is because it helps us to return to that connection, to creation, to life, to consciousness, to nature. And when we are connected, we're the happiest.
In
And I
essence,
think,
we're back with ourselves.
yeah, and it is our birthright to be happy. And then it comes with a responsibility of knowing, well, what is real? How do I connect to what's real? Beyond emotion, beyond all the happenings of life, all the struggles of life, there must be something more. Then, as we begin to explore, we can see that everything we need is here. already. It's this very beautiful journey, and Ayurveda is so user friendly as a result.
You're very right. Sometimes there's so little you can apply into your daily life that goes such a long way, such a long way. And it's so natural that maybe in the beginning, the idea of, you know, for instance, right now, turmeric has become very well known amongst many households. In certain cultures, it's always been revered as a spice in food and even to heal wounds and stuff. But maybe turmeric is not a good example, but let's just use that. That one little, well, not little, but that one substance goes such a long way, and bringing it into our everyday life. Especially nowadays, a lot of people are dealing with, say, inflammation and autoimmune disorders. That goes a long way. That's just one example. It's like we don't need to bring the entire, universe into our home, but it's all available to us. So when we need to, we tap into it. I'm going to get into what we wanted to talk about, which is oils and possibly herbs and what you do. But another thing that you also do is you guide a lot of folks, whether in Michigan, online, through finding their rhythm and finding their balance. And I've noticed that you work a lot with the consciousness model, and you do amazing, you guide us through amazing meditations, and it's all about consciousness. I feel like that when we tap into that, the answers will come. That's why I said we don't need to have the entire universe in our household. Tell us more about your view on that and your take, and how that has opened up into your own life.
When I first started doing this work, which was a long time ago, about 20 years ago, I actually started with the body, caring for the body, preparing the right foods, learning what to eat when and how much, and all of that. And over time, it has evolved into being more interested, more aware of, and more committed and devoted to first the true self that dwells deep in the heart. And the true self needs a body, it needs the emotional heart, it needs the mind. And as a result, to come in from that inside out perspective versus the outside in perspective, both are fine. But I find that if there is any reason to care for the body, because a lot of spiritual people, they can be not that interested in their body, they want to ascend. And in my experience and observation, we care about the body because it is the vehicle for the soul, the spirit. And we care about the mind because that is one aspect of our being.
Mm-hmm.
But it all comes from this place of our conscious awareness of who we are, why we're here, and why we need these bodies to be in balance and function well. Otherwise, we really can't have spiritual progress. Spiritual progress here refers to being joyful and happy and fulfilled, and bringing that loving heart to all of our relationships, personal, work, just wherever you are, just being in a state of love. And I was not born this way. I did not have this awareness. I had a lot of upside down notions of how life works. I was very deeply attached to suffering. I was always suffering. I knew suffering very well, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. And there were many times I questioned, if I'm only here for suffering, why am I even here? What's the point of it? And as you know some of my teachers yourself, I was very fortunate to have been led to my teachers. And I know that I remain very committed to learning and growing and studying with both of my teachers, and it's changed me completely. And if it's possible for me with back then with this tremendous ignorance of the mind, which is rampant, it's collective,
Mhm.
you know, the ignorance of not knowing who I am or why I'm here, and tying myself to this bondage of suffering and fear and lack, and one day beginning to awaken from that tamasic slumber, you know, and now knowing how, having studied spiritual mentoring and continuing to and using those beautiful techniques and consciousness based techniques, and seeing how much of an impact it's had on my life and that of my clients. And I completely stand by it. And transformation does not have to come through suffering.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Although it has helped other people in a different eras, that's what
Yeah.
was available, but our truth is something beyond that. And I really like the work that Dr. David Hawkins did many, many years ago. He was a scientist that went through an awakening, and he understood many things. And then at some point, he decided to go back and conceptualize some of this, because in a similar way, he realized, okay, well, that's knowledge that has been cognized by him needs to be brought to the attention of others, similar to us going back into the body to rediscover ourselves. It's like what we sometimes in the spiritual path push away is what is necessary to do that. And
Yeah.
in his work, he understood the vibration, the frequency of different emotions,
Yeah.
and how it gets so powerful. And he speaks about it in a book called Power versus Force. But it gets really powerful once you step into the realm of joy and peace, and then you get into enlightenment. How much that can hold. It can hold the suffering of millions of people. So
Exactly.
why not stepping onto that path instead of like getting stuck in the suffering?
Um, I think that each person comes to it at their own timing.
Yeah.
There's a perfect timing for each person. And once you arrive at that doorstep, there's really no looking back. And it's beautiful to watch people open that door for themselves, and beautiful to watch myself too over the years, and how freeing that experience is, and all the things you thought you couldn't have, that feeling of warmth in your heart and love and trust in the world and trusting your path, those things become so easy. And you get to just keep resting in that awareness and enjoying the beauty of these experiences. And it's not some sort of, oh, we'll just, ignore everything and get into the bliss. But it's knowing that in spite of being in a challenging world and going through personal challenges, you can still access your bliss and joy. It's right there waiting for you.
Sounds like that's awareness and consciousness in a way. That's a change of
Yeah.
perception.
Yeah.
And you are a professional in another realm, and that is working with the oils. And that is one of the ways to bring a lot of nourishment and support to the body as we go through a lot. So for the folks familiar with some Ayurvedic concepts like the doshas, we talk about, the energy of air and ether, some may call it as vata. Uh, and then there are other ones, pitta and kapha, but oils have been used, especially in the case of vata, to kind of balance that. And for the ones who are very much tapped into the spiritual world, I feel like that vata is very active.
Yes.
And that's why I wanted to blend in the concept of consciousness with the oils. And I also know in your practices, when you put things together, you bring that also. It's not just the oil that's been extracted, the plants. So, or, the seeds. Let's dive into that in our little chat, and let's have a better understanding of how oils are important in this holistic practice of Ayurveda, and also get a little bit of understanding as why, especially in the season of fall, they come in very handy. And we can go into oils that go into the body as well, but we can start with the surface.
I okay, I want to begin by saying that I will show to you the connection between why I'm a maker of these products and how actually it is very much related to transformation. So I started this company in 2018 in February. I sent out my first order in February. So I was in India, and I was there with one of my teachers and my mother and everything. And I was flying back to the United States, and I thought, not everyone will always be ready for spiritual mentoring because that requires a commitment and some even like a little bit of grit to look through your stuff and work through things and be open.
Mhm.
But what can I offer to the world? That's the little window that can open to self care and a little window that can open to a little bit of self love. I know that's such an overused term. And the thing I could think of was making these oils. And I thought, well, everyone likes to feel good on their skin. That's simple enough. Let me do that. And that can be the beginning for a lot of people. Maybe eventually they'll be open to doing some deeper layers of inner work, but at least they can start this level of nourishment. And although it seems like they're different, they're actually really connected. And so I have many clients who use these oils, and I have many people who come to me through these oils, and then they end up doing other things like learning how to meditate and all those types of things. So, however, we can get people there, it works.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've always seen yoga's expansion in the Western world, which is more of a physical, very athletic kind of yoga. Like a slight little opening too. And some shun it. They're like, oh, it's not that, but it in a way it is. And any little crack.
For sure. Yeah, I love making oils. I mean, my earliest, well, I have lots of memories of, as I said, growing up in this Ayurvedic way. But when I was a teenager, I had a lot of acne. I think I used to eat way too many spicy foods. So I don't know how I found this Ayurvedic doctor. I don't know if my mom sent me there or I don't even remember. But when I went to see him, he took my pulse and I don't know what else he told me, but he gave me these two tall amber glass jars filled with oil. And he said, you take this home and every day apply it on your body before you shower. And I remember bringing them home and opening them and smelling them. And I could literally smell the trees and the seeds and the herbs in it. And it was thick and it was just so like grounding. And my dream is to make sure that as many people can have that experience as I did back then. So, yeah, we're going into the fall season now. And the fall season is, we're already seeing, at least here in Michigan, it's much more drier. It's more windy, and you can just feel there's a little bit of warmth too. It's like the last layer of the pitta. And then it's going to be colder and more dry and more rough and more windy. And in Ayurveda, we have this very simple principle. It's called the principle of opposites.
Yeah.
So if you're dry, you hydrate, and you oleate. And oleation is something that's very unfamiliar to Westerners. People think of oil as messy, yucky, oh, it's going to leave a residue on my skin. It depends on how that oil is treated, and it depends on how you use the oil. And also, oil is very familiar to the skin because the skin already makes oil. So if you put a lotion on it, it's like even the skin digests anything we put on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you put lotion on it, it first of all clogs the pores and it says, I don't know what this is, so I'm not going to digest this. But oil is very familiar to the skin. And when we infuse herbs into the oils, and there's a very particular way of cooking it, the traditional Ayurvedic technique. It's a very slow process. I made 1 gallon of vata pacifying oil yesterday. It took me 8 hours minimum.
My goodness.
It has to be done. Yeah, it has to be done with a lot of patience and care because it's like food for your skin. It's going to go on your skin. The skin will absorb and digest it. So you need it to be optimally ready for the skin. So we want to nourish this dryness with oiliness, which is oleation, and we want to hydrate. So we would drink things like hot tea, drink hot water, maybe some fennel tea or fennel and rose petals mixed together for a tea.
Beautiful.
And then we consume, a little bit more ghee in our diet. Ghee is cooked butter, which is one of my most favorite things to eat. And so that will nourish and lubricate and oleate the insides of the body tissues. And then this Ayurvedic oiling of the body, the outside of the body, will ground us and it will enhance our circulation. And one of the most important things to me about this oiling business is as you take the oil and you apply it on your skin, it just softens you. The oil already has this quality of softening your skin, but it also softens your heart towards yourself. Particularly women, we are so harsh on ourselves with our body image issues, right? And every day we stand, most all bathrooms have mirrors, so we have no choice but look at ourselves. And every day we oil, and every day we accept ourselves a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more, till we come to the place of, I love this as it is. I don't resist it. I don't fight it. I don't criticize it. I just love this as is. And this body has all of my stories. My childbirth, my loss, my miscarriage, my whatever we've all been through in life. How my body has been loved by my partner, how that makes me feel, all those stories, not just the painful ones, but also the good ones.
So it's like an emotional cleanse, and it's self-love, as you said. But it also, like on the physical level, I've noticed it detoxifies the skin and the lymphs and the muscle tissue. Like for instance, I've noticed myself, like just a little bit of rubbing of the oil over not a very long period of time changes the way my skin looks. Cellulite, a lot of women it's beyond all that, but it's like a body image issue to begin with, and it goes away. So it's not it can be as shallow as it is and as deep as you explain it to be,
and it's fine to have both.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to want to look good and feel like you have radiant skin. It's totally fine. I think it's fine. Also wanted to mention 2 things. So if you look at some of the most ancient practices in India, wrestlers, before they went into the, what do you call it? The thing that they wrestle in, I forget the name for it.
Yeah, the pits.
Um, yeah, they were ridiculously heavily massaged by their
Mm.
trainers or assistants with oil, with Ayurvedic oils. And then also, new mothers are massaged after the baby is born for 40 days. New babies are massaged with oils. And it is said that if you apply oil to your skin for 7 days in a row, it
Mm.
will be found in the deepest layers of tissue after the
Wow.
7th. So
Wow.
skin has this amazing capacity to absorb and direct it everywhere. It's even been found in the bone tissue.
It's amazing because I learned this scientifically that oil is the only substance that can penetrate the cell membrane. So imagine taking the qualities of these herbs that are slow cooked into the oil and then directly sending them to the cells of the body, probably even faster than blood can,
Mhm.
or more effective than blood in a way.
So there are so many mysteries of Ayurveda that we, in our little small ways, we're all helping to share with the world, because this really is for everyone. It's timeless,
Yeah.
it's ageless, this knowledge. It's for all of us, it's universal.
And I've seen, you and I know men who do this practice called abhyanga, which is the oleation. So it's not just for women.
Oh, it's
And
for everyone.
yeah, and it's just nourishing and it just um, softens you, but it doesn't take away, masculinity or anything. It is just like it brings you back into your essence.
It enhances who you are already.
Beautifully said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how people can use these oils, because you put together an array of different kinds. It's oil that's applied to the skin, oil that's for the scalp, it's oil for nausea, which is nasal administration, and much more. Um, you did say a little bit, but how do we use that? If say somebody buys from you, what is the best way? And I know you have a little apparatus over there.
I want to share with our viewers. This is my warmer. I love this warmer. This is my personal warmer. It has oil in it, and
Beautiful.
it's lit. It's lit by a little tea light candle that burns for about 5 hours. Although you never need to leave it on for 5 hours. And why do we warm the oil? It's very important. So cold oil will not be absorbed. So if you just take some oil and say, oh yeah, I'm just going to put it on, you'll notice it will be sticky, there'll be a residue, and you're just going to be turned off by it. But if you take some warm oil, like I will right now, this could be a little warmer, but it works. And then you apply it. My skin is like, oh, thank you so much. I can hear it whispering to me. So an abhyanga is very simple. You literally just dip your fingers in the warm oil, and you apply it. Long strokes on the limbs, so like that, and circles around all the joints.
I see.
So the wrist, all over your fingers, and then long strokes up and down. So that covers the extremities. Face, face is very much like this. You can use your palms and massage your face like that. And then neck. The chest, we take oil on the palms and on the fingers, and we go in circles on both, and on the belly as well, clockwise circles. And everywhere else, yeah, everywhere else, we do the up and down stroke for the limbs, the thighs, and the buttocks. You would go circles as well.
And do you go out or in, or towards the center, or does it matter which direction?
No, not for this. No, it doesn't matter. Um, and you don't need a vast amount of oil. It's not like you're pouring this oil on yourself. As you noticed, I literally only dipped my fingertips, and that was more than enough. And can you see all the oil has been absorbed
Yeah.
nicely? And there's a little bit of residue, but then you're also going to shower afterwards. So what happens when you shower? You don't use soap. You
Mhm.
only use soap on the special regions.
Yeah.
And on the skin, on the rest of the body, you just go like this under the shower,
You
under
push
the
it
hot
in a
water.
way.
It does go into the deeper, it goes into the deeper layers of the tissue. It will be driven in a little more. And then if there's a little bit of oil left, it will go into your tub. And when you come out of the shower, you just you just pat dry, and you notice you'll never need lotion.
Very true. Even I just learned something, because I used to use a lot more oil, and that became a problem in two sense. For instance, I didn't want to leave too much residue in the shower, or clog the drains. But it's also, say I had a knee injury, and it kind of triggered a little bit of fear in me. What if I slip?
Yes.
So when
Yeah.
you don't overdo it.
So the only time a lot of oil is used is when you go and get a treatment, an abhyanga treatment. So I use between 4 and 6 ounces of oil when I do abhyangas on my clients.
I see.
That's a different experience. You're laying on a table, handfuls of oil are being drizzled on your skin. It's a very different experience. This daily thing is less oil. You're not giving yourself a deep tissue massage. It's anointing the body with oil and then just letting it be for about 10 minutes so the skin drinks it in.
Mhm.
So this is not like a 2 hour grand princess ritual or anything like that. You move through it pretty quickly and the benefits are amazing.
I remember the first time I gave myself abhyanga, I gave myself such a deep tissue massage that my fingers were hurting.
Oh no. Yeah, this is
Even
very gentle.
yeah.
No
As
need
you
for,
said, it's called oleation, not a massage.
yes. Yeah, exactly. You're just applying the oil and you're letting the skin do the job of absorbing.
You're a pro at it. Your website is amazing. And I would like for all to know where to find you. So please do share your website address and also any social media that you use. And I'm going to put that down below, and they will see it on screen as well, so they can find you, Aparna.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm on Instagram, and my Instagram name is Pure Ishwari, which is the name of my company. And also on my website is pureishwari.com. And there's a lot of stuff on there,
Yeah,
products, spiritual mentoring, all sorts of things. Yeah.
and wonderful live meditations on Instagram, ongoing right now where we're
Oh,
recording. I don't know if that's going to go on any
yes.
longer.
Oh, it's going to go on. So
Be
I was just checking today. I've done, I think, 12 sessions already. I can't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to go on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 20 minutes guided meditation every Thursday. All are welcome. Please come.
2 p.m.
Enjoy.
Eastern
2 p.m.
Standard
Eastern.
Time.
They're always recorded and then they're just stored on my Instagram live videos. Although 2 weeks ago something happened and it didn't get saved and I was disappointed. But they're there for everyone to go back and use again and again, or I don't know if downloads are available. I'm not sure.
Well, you are a prime example of somebody who is well nourished. Thus, you bring that gift to us, through the work you do and the words you speak, and it's such a wonderful and promising.
I did not know what self-care was when
Exactly.
I was a single mother. When my daughter was a year old, I didn't have time for self-care. I was so wrapped up in survival mode.
Mhm.
And it's almost like I had to go through all that to come to this place. And everything I share, I practice. And I feel pretty amazing. I'm almost 52
How come
and
you? Why?
I feel so good, so grateful. I feel the abundance in my heart. That's what it is. And I feel very much the grace, divine grace that's on me. It's on all of us. We just have to connect to it.
I
And
agree.
yeah. And so the possibility exists for all of us. It's not just, oh, that happened for her, but I don't know if it will happen for me. It's possible for everyone to find joy and happiness and well being. I'm definitely proof of it. And I know lots of other people who are. And if anybody wants to know more, they can read my story on my website, and they can also come to the guided meditation.
Beautiful. I want to thank you for spending time with me and with the audience for this recording. It's just being in your presence shifts a lot of things. So we went through a hurricane, as I told you before the recording. I felt like my mind was in a hurricane, and at the same time, just this is a proof that when we do the right thing for ourselves, self-care included, yes, overused, but never over applied, I would say, it has such healing effects. Healing is not given to us by somebody else. It's us doing it for ourselves, but it's just like being in the vicinity of a prime example, like I said, makes such a huge difference. So thank you very, very much.
You are most
It is
welcome. It was
nourishing.
wonderful to be here with you and to share what I know. And as you know, Ayurveda is so vast. I only know a tiny little nano drop of all the knowledge that exists. But thank you so much for having me.
Oh, what a pleasure. Thank you. And I want to ask the audience to also check out my Instagram page, mystically.asal. I share the information here, and check out my website and sign up for a free meditation and enjoy it and play it as long as you want. Doesn't matter where you go, what you do. If you find that somebody speaks your language, consider them a friend and allow them to be alongside you until a new door opens. And this is what this practice is all about. It's like doors opening constantly. So have a good one, everyone, and see you next time.